The purpose of this study is to determine if certain soft skill trainings or education can effectively prevent or reduce burnout within the construction industry. This research is geared towards individuals who work within the industry to give them control over their own destiny, but also towards construction organizations to open up opportunities for preventative measures versus reactive measures when it comes to mental health and stress. Because of the physically demanding nature within construction, the majority of healthcare promotion in the industry consists of physical well-being, not psychological, even though the industry generally experiences more emotional than physical stress symptoms. Also, physical stressors impact field personnel most, while psychological stress affects not only field personnel, but just about anyone who's involved in the construction process, regardless of their age, position, title, sector, or whether you're in the field, in the office, or the project trailer. Results. When presented with the statistic that over 70% of the construction industry is stressed, depressed, or anxious, over 80% of the participants either commented that it was not surprising or that they were actually surprised that the number was that low. This shows the awareness of the high stress levels within our industry. One participant pretty much summed it up by saying, "I would have guessed it was higher. I would have guessed it was 100% or even 110%. I don't know anyone who is not stressed, and if they are not doing their job." Participants were then asked to evaluate and rate their own stress using a Likert scale, with 1 being not stressed at all and 5 being very stressed. Over half of the participants rated their overall stress level at a 4 or higher, and the average current stress at a 3.96. This tells us that stress levels don't fluctuate as much as they should, and that they relatively remain consistent at a higher level. Deadlines and lack of time were big factors for both their current and overall stress levels. The next biggest contributors in both current and overall stressors related to items categorized under relationships and/or teamwork challenges. Lack of time. Abbreviated and accelerated deadlines and the amount of work required within a short amount of time were common responses of factors contributing to participants' stress levels. A big part of this is challenges or issues that come up unexpectedly and suddenly that then require rearranging of schedules and priorities in order to accommodate these challenges. This is likely due to the required reaction time to these challenges. One participant explained that unknown factors that come into play always seem to come in at the wrong time, and they need resolution within minutes versus within days or weeks. One of the owner representatives explained that in the construction industry, mistakes that happen usually have a real big impact immediately, and a lot of times they have an impact later on down the road. Additionally, rearranging of schedules is not as easy as it seems and very frequently results in a substantial amount of work within the already tight timeframes of a construction project or construction member's day. While interviewing the participants, the deadlines and unknown factors that they were expounding upon started to show connections with the relationship and teamwork stressor. Participants' second most frequently listed stressors included lack of teamwork, lack of understanding of processes, managing and motivating other people, trust, relationships with coworkers and bosses, and the perception of unqualified people, all of which could be categorized into the larger theme of relationships and teamwork. For both the lack of time and deadlines, as well as the relationship and teamwork categories, there was not one specific sector or person within the construction process that contributed more than another. But interestingly, each of them identified different parties that lack awareness or are uneducated about the participants' work and processes. For instance, participants in the general contracting sector mentioned that owners and subcontractors' lack of awareness, and subcontractors mentioned general contractors' lack of awareness. So project teams are lacking and missing out on essential and beneficial information that could be gained from experienced team members who have the information, which could then create more productive, higher quality, and less stressful projects. It was important to determine participants' perception of stress to see if stress is even considered an issue. So it was asked, if stress is bad or if stress could also be good. Every participant pondered the question and seemed to understand that stress can be bad in certain circumstances or if it is continuous or extreme, but clarified that it can also be good. Overall, participants believed that stress can be motivational and can increase productivity. It was recognized that too much or consistent stress can be unhealthy, at which point burnout becomes an inherent risk. Considering, though, that the majority of reactions to stressors within the industry are currently negative versus positive, the threshold of when stress transitions from good to bad may be unclear. But current education or training opportunities on general stress awareness within the industry seems to be minimal, which may contribute to this lack of understanding or necessary mind shift to raise this threshold. Additionally, with the general perception that stress is inherent within the industry, it proves that it is much more difficult to admit to being stressed or seek out resources to mitigate stress when it has reached an unhealthy level. Therefore, preventative measures would likely have a much larger impact than reactive measures. One of the specific questions asked during the interviews was, do you think there is an adequate amount of soft skill training opportunities that are relevant or immediately usable to our industry? The participants who answered no explained that construction is a very direct industry, so typical techniques are usually too soft for construction people. Concepts may be applicable to construction, but deploying these techniques in the recommended manner would not relate well to construction. The training topics do not have to be construction specific, but it is in the way that they are taught that determines if it is relatable or usable to industry members. When participants were asked if they thought the industry as a whole could benefit from soft skill trainings, 92% said yes, with one response being maybe. The question was asked again in a different context later in the interview. Do you think that additional knowledge and/or training in soft skills have the potential to reduce individual construction workplace stress? All 12 participants responded yes. They were then asked which ones would have the most impact and why. The soft skill recommended overall for the construction industry was communication, with leadership skills as the second most identified. When participants were asked which soft skills had the most potential to reduce stress within the industry, 3 skills were mentioned most often. Again, communication, but then interpersonal relationships, and critical thinking and problem solving. A key point identified during the interviews was that participants believed that construction organizations should be the ones providing access to these skills. Although 100% of the participants believed that these are beneficial, as one participant stated, not everyone will seek it out on their own. Another participant clarified that although it is beneficial, it must be mandated in order for field personnel to take full advantage of the opportunities. Conclusion. Construction is a high-stress, fast-paced industry that relies heavily on effective leadership, communication, interpersonal relationships, and critical thinking. Technical skills have been the focus of training and education within the industry and are still a critical component of construction, but soft skills have long been overlooked and are equally significant and critical to our industry. This research has revealed a resounding response that soft skills do have the ability to help construction industry members reduce stress levels that contribute to burnout, as well as just benefit the industry as a whole. In order for this to be most effective, it is recommended that construction organizations provide these opportunities as mandatory trainings for employees. Although it is equally beneficial for individuals to seek out these opportunities individually, a lack of time may contribute to lesser participation, therefore lessening the benefits. Additionally, relevancy of the material as well as the awareness and understanding of the industry by the facilitator is an important factor for the effectiveness of these trainings. It is important to note that stress cannot and should not be eliminated altogether. Stress is healthy to a certain degree and contributes to the motivation and drive of members within the construction industry. The intent is to identify when stress transitions from healthy to unhealthy, as this is when it becomes detrimental to individuals and construction projects. These thresholds are different for each and every individual. When individuals are aware of their own thresholds and have the tools necessary to keep stress at a manageable and productive level, Only then can we reduce burnout in construction.